About 48 hours after he had gone missing, 24-year-old Samkelo Zondi's body was found in a bushy area near the UKZN Westville campus. His girlfriend had notified the police of his disappearance. Zondi had last been seen with his friend, who had allegedly lured him to the bushes where he met his death. It's alleged that Zondi's killer returned a day later with paraffin and set the body alight. University security guards noticed the smoke and rushed to the fire. The suspect saw the guards and fled the scene. He was apprehended after a chase.
They spotted the suspect emerging from the bushes and he was apprehended, and on further investigation the body was discovered burning in the bushes. The 25-year-old suspect has been detained by Westville Police on charges of murder.
The murder shocked students at the university. Those who had known Zondi and his suspected killer say they were very close and often played soccer together.
They were close, like in such a way one had access to another. In such a way that he was able to lure him on the other side of the campus, on the bushes.
Because of the incident, we feel, even though the university has taken a few corrective measures in terms of security, we do still feel quite unsafe.
Attempts to talk to the Zondi family have been unsuccessful. The motive for the murder is unknown. The suspect is expected to appear in court on Monday. Lungisi Kumalo, SABC News, Westville.
And earlier I spoke to Mlungisi Kumalo, our reporter in Durban, for the latest.
Look, it's been a very sad day, especially for the learners at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, in particular at the Westville campus. I mean, this morning when we went there, the mood was extremely somber. Most of the students, in fact, did not want to even speak to the media. But those that were able to speak to the media basically said to us that they did not feel safe at the institution. We also recalled then that in the last 5 months or so, safety at institutions of higher learning had actually come into the spotlight. You also recall that at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, not so long ago, 4 months ago to be much more precise, as students were actually stabbed there at the same institution. So this was more or less the general feeling that we got from some of the students. And now we've gotten more information now that the students that were stabbed by these other students, apparently a row had ensued between both of them. And we actually have a video right now that has been circulating around across all the social media platforms. And in that video, the suspect actually makes a confession. Now, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to divulge that confession because the matter still has to go to court and undergo all the legal processes. But just to give you a brief nutshell of what the suspect says, he says he believes that the victim had been actually using black magic against him. Now, you also recall then that both the suspects and the victim were actually very close friends. I mean, they shared a room together, and often they would be seen playing soccer at the university premises. So currently, right now, the police were not able to divulge as much information to us as possible. But unfortunately, the family knows about the incidents, and they did inform us that unfortunately they cannot speak to the media about this whole entire matter.
You say, Mlu, that they had a pretty close relationship. What do we know about the relationship with the two students over the past couple of months?
What we were able to ascertain and get at the institution, in particular from their friends, they told us that they would more or less spend the entire day together. In fact, at times they would go down to the football field and then play soccer together. There were students that were fairly active in both in their academics and also in their sporting activities. We understand that at some point they also played rugby at the institution. We were then told as well that, in fact, on Monday, to be much more precise, they were seen together going down to play football. And then on Thursday, the suspect and the deceased was spotted by the girlfriend of the deceased. She actually saw them walking around at the campus. And when the girlfriend asked the students where were they going, they then said that they were going to play football. Now, we do not understand how the relationship got sour, but of course we understand that we will then be able to hear when the court, when the suspect appears in court on Monday. But going back to the video that I mentioned earlier on, you know, in that video, the suspect did not seem apologetic. He showed no signs of remorse at all. In fact, he went as far as telling the security guards as to what transpired and how he managed to allegedly kill this person. And he also told the security guards that after allegedly killing the deceased student, he set him alight. And of course, we understand that when the security guards saw a huge fire ablaze, they then made their way there. And upon arriving there, the suspect saw the security guards, and of course, he ran away from them and they chased him. And also, quite interesting enough, then, you know, at the vicinity of the university, there are some bushes in the area, and there are also shacks as well, informal settlements. And we understand that the chasing actually ensued for about 3 minutes before some of the people from the informal settlements were able to nab this particular student and then hand him over to the police.
Blue, as you wrap up, you touched on this. It's a very important issue with regards to safety at universities. You reported the university security guard noticed the smoke and rushed to the fire. The suspect saw the guards and then fled the scene. He was, well, apprehended after a chase. But we're asking a question here this evening on The Full View. If people think security on South African university campuses are adequate, tell us about the sentiment on the ground. You know, do students have this similar concern? And what are some of the solutions that they are putting forward in order to put paid to some of these issues?
You know, Glenn, to answer the whole question of security guards at institutions of higher learning, one has to go back about 3 months, or in fact 6 months back, to be much more precise with you. Remember that at the University of Technology, a student was allegedly stabbed by robbers who made their way into the institution. And as a result of that, he died about 2 weeks ago. And of course, you remember the story of Mlungisi Madonsela, who died at the University of University of Technology, who was allegedly shot by a security guard. And of course, you go back then about 8 months ago when the student at the University of KwaZulu-Natal was stabbed, apparently by another student. So the students at the ground, the notion or the view that the students have been able to share on the ground is that they do not trust security guards at institutions of higher learning. In fact, we've seen a number of videos circulating on social media where students were actually fighting with some of these security guards. And the big question is, are these security guards equipped enough to look after some of the students? And unfortunately, the answer and the view from some of the students, in particular student bodies, they have literally said to us that no, they do not think that they trust these security guards and they do not see safe around them. So that's the view from some of the students on the ground plane.
Mlungisi Kumalo talking to me earlier on.